Hi, welcome to this video on media and its role in the farmers' protest. This video is presented by Aditi Vedavan 1912503, Brinda S. Nair 1912510, M. Aravind 1912526, Uttara Bhaskaran 1912552, and Leela Lakshmi Raju 1912564. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Media has become a part of everyone's life in today's world. But are we sure that this media is reporting accurate information to all of us? Rarely, yes. What's the cause of this situation? Why does the media lack freedom to express the truth without hesitation? The World Press Freedom Index (WPFI) is a measure used by the Paris-based Reporters Without Borders to rank different countries based on their assessment of their press freedom. The organization takes into consideration of 180 countries. This index is prepared with the help of an online questionnaire comprising of 83 questions answered by 18 freedom of expression NGOs, many of which are funded by the RSF and a network of around 150 correspondents and researchers, jurists, and human rights activists, usually selected by the correspondents. The scores are calculated based on the 6 parameters, namely pluralism, media independence, media environment, and self-censorship, legislative framework, transparency, and quality of infrastructure that support production of news and information. This score is combined with quantitative data on abuses and acts of violence against journalists to arrive at the overall WPFI score. There are a few countries that criticize the RSF for coming up with unfair standards and parameters, criticizing its opaqueness the most. Norway is the country with the highest WPFI in 2020, followed by Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and the Netherlands. These countries also take the lead in the World Happiness Index 2020, which is quite fascinating.
Let's take a look at how India's press freedom has changed. During the British rule, it is well known that the press was suppressed as much as possible in an attempt to curb the freedom movement. So, we'll take a glimpse of what has been happening after the independence. Freedom of the press is given by Article 19 of the Constitution, which expresses the right to freedom of speech and expression. However, Article 19, Section 2 states that reasonable restrictions can be imposed in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, or public order. There have been several changes after that in the Constitution which impose further restrictions. According to Getting Away with Murder, a study on attacks on journalists, there have been over 200 serious attacks on journalists over the span of 5 years, from 2014 to 19. There have been 40 killings of journalists in this same time period. Citing rsf.org, there have been constant press freedom violations in the last few years. Ever since the general elections in 2019, won by the BJP, there has been backlash against anyone speaking against Hindutva. They are even being called anti-nationals. RSF details that the main reason behind India's score in 2020 is the situation in Kashmir, where the government shut down internet connections for several months, making it impossible for the press to cover. Recently, on February 11, 2021, a YouTube channel called The String posted a video calling for the hanging of outspoken Indian journalists, including Fair D'Souza and Mohammed Zubair. Several BJP leaders even took to praising the video, saying that it is for an honest cause. India's press freedom ranking has been falling steadily, from being ranked 122 in 2010 to 142 in 2020.
Farmers have been protesting since September of 2020 against the 3 farm bills. Not so surprisingly, there was not one national news channel that focused on what the 3 farm laws are, but rather wasted their time on heated political debates where different parties blamed each other for the situation and focused on the political motive behind the protest. The media seem to have also focused largely on the Khalistan presence, for which very little evidence has been offered. Yes, I agree that a few people did take advantage of the protesting farmers and shifted the dynamics to bring in the Khalistan presence, but channels seem to have highlighted it the most. Shah Ravi case related to the farmers' protest was also sensationalized by few of the channels, and they went to the extent of comparing her to terrorists such as Kassab, and many journalists were put behind bars for the false accusation of sedition. The media focused on all of this, but where was the coverage of the farmers, and why haven't we questioned and penalized people from our own country who have shamelessly said that our farmers are terrorists? What we were not shown was that there were genuine farmers who wanted to voice their concerns and problems but were overshadowed by headlines and debates dedicated to political rivalry, tweets made by international personalities, and innocent protesters being victimized. This shows how the Indian media has failed our farmers and how we have been brainwashed and misled by them.
At several of these border points, we have been seeing how they have broken barricades to come into the national capital. And even as they have indulged in clashes with the police, here are the farmers who are also going on to vandalize.
Social media plays a pivotal role in this fast-paced world. Anything that happens around us will be inside our hands in lightning speed. Celebrities from different parts of the world had to support the farmers whom we failed to support. Almost a month back, there was a social media war that outbroke between the famous singer Rihanna and many Indian celebrities who went against it. Whilst a few went on commenting that it was a conspiracy planned by the other nations to slash the unity that India has. The hashtags Farmers Protest, India Against Propaganda and India Together were the most trending on social media. In February 2021, Twitter removed over 500 accounts that criticized the Prime Minister upon direction of the Ministry of Justice and Technology, where it was said that the companies are free to work in India but will have to respect the nation and its constitution. One of the other biggest social media controversies in recent times is the Thunberg tweet. Popular climatic activist Greta Thunberg posted a tweet that allegedly guided protesters on how to go about protesting. As soon as netizens went mad over the tweet, she was forced to delete it. The most popular newspaper company, The Times of India, reported that the tweet was an act of conspiracy planned by the Canadian pro-Khalistan organization. A huge question that we ought to ask ourselves is, are these news agencies providing us with the actual news the world needs to know? Or are these in favor of the government? If it is, why do we need to read the news that's not favoring the truth? These are questions that readers and news watchers should ask themselves each time they read something on these platforms. Media acts as a watchdog of the government. It's hard to believe this statement nowadays, as most of the actions of the media agencies are in favor of the government at the end of the day. Those news agencies that report against the government are not able to stand still throughout. Why?
Social media is one of the most important forms of media we ought to look at in today's environment. This news greatly influences the young crowd more than the other news agencies. When it is more important, we firmly believe that it should also be used as a useful platform for spreading the truth to all parts of the world, even to the most remote parts, so that everyone here can hear the news and be informed, as it is the most significant rights of all of us. As the name suggests, media is essentially a medium used by people to communicate information to the general public. It is therefore highly important that it's not infiltrated by biased news. Media democracy is a concept which aims at reforming the current corporate media into strengthening public service, broadcasting and citizen journalism. Most of us are influenced by media in a way where we look at things in a way the broadcaster wants us to look at. Since they are successful in this job, it would be highly advantageous for the society if they make us look at what exactly is happening rather than polished news. This will support and complement the statement, media acts as a watchdog of the government to a great extent. Thank you.